Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and we are starting day 19. I would like to welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here and I hope you're having a fantastic day. We are going to be reading Genesis 21 and Nehemiah 12, but we're only going to be reading verses 1 through 26. I did a pre-read on it, and there's another name jumble. And then we'll move on to Luke chapter 9, verses 28 through 62. And then we're going to close it out in Psalm 17, but we're only going to be reading verses 1 through 5 today. So happy you're here. Let's get started with Genesis 21. Here we go. Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahweh did to Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, "God has made me laugh. Everyone who hears will laugh with me." She said, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age." The child grew and was weaned. Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Sarah saw that the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. Therefore she said to Abraham, "Cast out this servant and her son, for the son of this servant will not be heir with my son Isaac." This thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight on account of his son. God said to Abraham, "Don't let it be grievous in your sight because of the boy and because of your servant. In all that Sarah says to you, listen to her voice, for her offspring will be named through Isaac. I will also make a nation of the son of the servant, because he is your child." Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a container of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and gave her the child and sent her away. She departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. The water in the container was spent, and she put the child under one of the shrubs. She went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about a bow shot away. For she said, "Don't let me see the death of my child." She sat opposite of him and lifted up her voice and wept. God heard the voice of the boy. The angel of God called to Hagar out of the sky and said to her, "What troubles you, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Get up, lift up the boy, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation." God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went, filled the container with water, and gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy, and he grew. He lived in the wilderness as he grew up and became an archer. He lived in the wilderness of Paran. His mother got a wife for him out of the land of Egypt. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the captain of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, "God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done to you, you shall do to me, and to the land in which you have lived as a foreigner." Abraham said, "I will swear." Abraham complained to Abimelech because of the water well, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. Abimelech said, I don't know who has done this thing. You didn't tell me, and I didn't hear of it until today. Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech. Those two made a covenant. Abraham sent 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Abimelech said to Abraham, What do these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves mean? He said, You shall take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, that it may be a witness to me that I have dug this well. Therefore, he called that place Beersheba, because they both swore an oath there. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Abimelech rose up with Phicol, the captain of his army, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of Yahweh, the everlasting God. Abraham lived as a foreigner in the land of the Philistines many days. All right. We're going to move on to Nehemiah 12, 1 through 26. Okay, now there are the priests and the Levites who went up with Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, Seraiah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Raham, Miramoth, Iddo, Ginnithai, Abiha, Mehaman, Mediah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Jareb, Jedaiah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jediah. These were the chiefs of the priests and of their brothers in the days of Jeshua. Moreover, the Levites were Jeshua, Benai, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who was over the thanksgiving songs, he and his brothers. Also, Bakbukiah and Uno, their brothers, were close to them according to their offices. Jeshua became the father of Joachim, and Joachim became the father of Eliashib. And Eliashib became the father of Jaiada, and Jaiada became the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan became the father of Jaddua. In the days of Joachim were priests, head of fathers' households of Seraiah, Meraiah, and Jeremiah, Hananiah of Ezra, Heshalom of Amariah, Jehonanan of Malachi, Jonathan of Shabaniah, Joseph of Haram, Adnah of Merioth, Helkai of Iddo, Zechariah of Gineoth, Melisham of Abiha, Zichri of Miniamim, of Moadiah, Pilatai of Bilgah, Shammua of Shemaiah, Jehonathan of Jarib, Metani of Jedaiah, Uzi of Salai, Kalai of Amok, Eber of Hilkiah, Hashabiah of Jediah, Nathaniel. As for the Levites, in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanan, and Jaddua, there were recorded the heads of fathers' households, also the priests in the reign of Darius the Persian. The sons of Levi, heads of fathers' households, were written in the book of the Chronicles, even until the days of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. The chiefs of the Levites, Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, the son of Kadmiel, with their brothers close to them, to praise and give thanks according to the commandment of David, the man of God. Section next to section. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akub were gatekeepers, keeping the watch of the storehouses of the gates. These were in the days of Joachim, the son of Jeshua, the son of Josadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest and scribe. And there we have it. Moving on to Luke chapter 9, verse 28 to 62. No! All right. About 8 days after these sayings, he took with him Peter, John, and James, and went up into the mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face was altered, and his clothing became white and dazzling. Behold, 2 men were talking with him, who were Moses and Elijah. And they appeared in glory and spoke of his departure, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Now Peter and those who were with him were heavy with sleep. But when they were fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men who stood with him. As they were parting from him, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah," not knowing what he said. While he said these things, a cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were afraid as they entered into the cloud. A voice came out of the cloud saying, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." When the voice came, Jesus was found alone. They were silent and told no one in those days any of the things which they had seen. On the next day, when they had come down from the mountain, a great multitude met him. Behold, a man from the crowd called out, saying, "Teacher, I beg you to look at my son, for he is my only born child. Behold, a spirit takes him, he suddenly cries out, and it convulses him so that he foams, and it hardly departs from him, bruising him severely. I begged your disciples to cast it out, but they couldn't." Jesus answered, "Faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you and bear with you? Bring your son here." While he was still coming, the demon threw him down and convulsed him violently. But Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, healed the boy, and gave him back to his father. They were all astonished at the majesty of God. But while all were marveling at the things which Jesus did, he said to his disciples, "Let these words sink into your ears. For the Son of Man will be delivered up into the hands of men." But they didn't understand this saying. It was concealed from them, that they should not perceive it, and they were afraid to ask him about this saying. An argument arose among them about which of them was the greatest. Jesus, perceiving the response of their hearts, took a little child and set him by his side. And then he said to them, "Whoever receives this little child in my name receives me. Whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For whoever is least among all, this one will be great." John answered, "Master, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him, because he didn't follow with us." Jesus said to him, "Don't forbid him, for he who is not against us is for us." It came to pass, when the days were near, that he should be taken up, he intently set his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face. They went and entered into a village of the Samaritans, so as to prepare for him. They didn't receive him, because he was traveling with his face set towards Jerusalem. When his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, "Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from the sky and destroy them, just as Elijah did?" But he turned and rebuked them. You don't know of what kind of spirit you are, for the Son of Man didn't come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. They went to another village. As they went on their way, a certain man said to him, "I want to follow you wherever you go, Lord." Jesus said to him, "The foxes have holes, and the birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." He said to another, "Follow me." But he said, "Lord, allow me first to go and bury my father." But Jesus said to him, "Leave the dead to bury their own dead, but you go and announce God's kingdom." Another also said, "I want to follow you, Lord, but first allow me to say goodbye to those who are at my house." But Jesus said to him, "No one, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for God's kingdom." We get to hear a little bit of Jesus's frustration. I think it's important to remember that it wasn't all, daisies and peace as he's walking and healing and everyone running up to him and praising him and he's performing all these miracles. We have to remember that he was also human. God in human skin. So, yeah, he got frustrated too, which is important to remember because, when we think we are sinning because we are angry or frustrated or, people are driving us a little bit nuts, we can remember that Jesus knows. God knows. I find it comforting. Psalm 17, 1 through 5. I want to know why we can't finish it. This is like my favorite ending. Psalm 17, 1 through 5. That's it for today. This is a prayer by David. Hear, Yahweh, my righteous plea. Give ear to my prayer that doesn't go out of deceitful lips. Let my sentence come out of your presence. Let your eyes look on equity. You have proved my heart. You have visited me in the night. You have tried me and found nothing. I have resolved that my mouth shall not disobey. As for the deeds of men, by the words of your lips, I have kept myself from the ways of the violent. My steps have held fast to your paths. My feet have not slipped. I wish that was true for me. But we get up every morning and we try again. We just keep trying. We keep trying to reach for the Lord. We keep trying to do what He asked us to do, to love Him and be in relationship with Him, and then to love people. Everything else will fall into place. So thank you for joining me today. I am so happy that you're here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Please join us tomorrow for day 20, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.